Hey, welcome back. How's your mom and them? Welcome to the Far Reaches podcast. Again, we're available wherever you find your podcast at, or our favorite thing, crowd favorite for sure. We're on YouTube at Far Reaches Podcast on the YouTube channel. So track those down. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the little notification bell, ding, so you know when one of these brilliant episodes come out. We are in full force again as we join the gang of Raleigh and Joel and Richard and myself. And we are here to tell it how it is one more time. So, guys, how's it going this week? Wow, I think I just hit puberty. Hey, guys.
I just looked and we have 8 subscribers on Far Reaches YouTube. Somebody's
outstanding.
packing
Wow.
their weight.
Somebody needs to get their mom to hit the like button or something. Yeah, so.
I'm going to get after my wife.
Well, we'll leave that for another discussion. But
it's like voting in a small town. Somebody has to vote for the Democrats so they don't feel bad.
Yeah, they got enough going on as it is. Yeah. So. Well, boys, let's go over a weekly update. Shall we start with Joel? You got a new shiny hat. You're looking pretty spiffy. Let's dive in with you first. What's going on in your world?
Yeah, thanks for pointing out the hat.
Hey, you can't help but notice.
So when I came out here, I packed lightly. I only brought like a little duffel bag. So it's been colder this week than usual. Pretty big floods.
Oh yeah,
so,
for sure.
See the pictures of the golf course? Junior sent those to me.
I've not seen the golf course. I've seen Pilot Rock. P-Rock's getting hammered out by Nolan again, taking a little beating. I've not seen the course yet. I'm sure it's probably a lot of agua though.
Well, Pilot Rock was probably due for a cleaning, but
Jesus, coming out early, are we? Good Lord.
Yeah, I did some shopping yesterday. I went to the Woolen Mills and then went to the Roundup store and got this jacket that I'm wearing. Yeah, I had a pretty good week. Making progress at work, it's good.
Outstanding. Are you enjoying being extra remote from work, and are you adapting well to P-Town life?
Yeah, for the most part. I can feel my sleep schedule starting to get a little off New York time, so I'm waking up now at like 7:30, so I'm already an hour and a half late to work.
Yeah, well, you're getting on. So yeah, that's the question. Are you trying to keep on Eastern time with work, or have they shifted you a bit since you're 3 hours different?
No, yeah, I'm trying to. I haven't been told I need to or anything, but like tomorrow's interesting. Like I should be done with work tomorrow at like 9:30 a.m. West Coast time. So
outstanding.
Yeah. So yeah, having a good time. Going over to my brother Brian's place. I just got done watching Porky's for the movie of the week. Yeah.
Love it. Excellent. Mr. Bigsby, what the hell's going on in your world?
Well, it's feeling like it might snow.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. It's been pouring down rain and probably chilling off.
I want to ask Joel how Semioti's was last week. So
you dirtbag.
Going there.
You want me to answer right now?
Yeah, that should be part of your week, I think.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Must have been
yeah,
good.
so actually, yeah, on Friday I went to Semioti's. We had the two tall tables in the front.
Nice. Well, that's tradition. Yeah.
Many a train wreck has gone down there.
Richard knows. Al knows. Is there a pair of boots under the table? I'm just curious.
It was interesting. Like all the servers and the people that work there, they had their masks on and whatnot. I think that might be the law, but
it's not law. Yeah.
The level of disregard for the virus itself among the patrons was pretty astounding. Like people were coming up to me not trying to. They would extend their hand to shake hands, and you'd do that because that's. I feel like that. Like people are talking about like shaking hands is going to go away. It's not going away. Like that's super rude. Super rude if somebody puts their hand out and you don't shake it. Like, but I had my Purell with me, so I just Purell as soon as I walked away. But one guy came up to me he knew I came from New York, and he was like, "Well, you guys had that Corvid real bad out there." Kept calling it Corvid.
Yeah, see.
Corvid.
Like do you feel the virus was insulted by its lack of care?
But yeah, of course, yeah. I think it's gonna like double down its efforts to really hit
Seems
home
to be
because
intelligent. Yeah.
people here don't seem to give a shit about it. You're right, Sal, but I was a little, I like to go out and act tough that I can go out in public, but then afterwards I'm like, for a couple of days, I'm pretty nervous that I'm about to get sick. Especially with some of the people that you hang around with at semiotics, right? Not
Some of
naming
them carry
names.
disease 24/7. Way pre-existing. Yeah.
Yeah, but an amazing meal. Their linguine Alfredo, fucking incredible. And then I went golfing on Sunday too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I won $80 off a junior. I beat junior in golf on the front and back nine.
What do you give you, about 40 strokes? Yeah.
We don't need to talk
I'm
about
not gonna hang up on details here, but yeah, well done, sir. Well done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I had a great time. I had a great weekend.
I love it. That's awesome. Awesome. All right, Rawls, back to you.
Yeah. Been a good week. Just lots of rain, lots of moisture, so you're kind of limited to what you can get done. We processed some cows earlier this week and watched it rain for a couple days, and still continuing to. So we were planning on branding this weekend, but that doesn't work so well in the mud, so we're going to hold off on that for a week and just another week in Wallowa County.
Beautiful.
But the brand doesn't stay hot enough, long enough to burn and scar the cow.
If you see it that
You
way.
want a job at CNN? You have such a polite way of asking questions.
You can only emotionally damage the calf, and
as opposed to
damage
physically
it.
and emotionally. How do you respond to that, sir?
We give ours a nice rub down and aspirin when they're done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they get a dose of Banamine with every shot. So
I have a. Where are the aspirin that we just had? I had some. My son found some. I was going to show Joel.
Oh, outstanding! Yeah.
Size of a bowling ball. How big is it?
At the end of every brand aid pocket, I have castration bands and a pocket full of calf aspirin.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it washes really well. This is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Hold that next to your head so we can get an idea. There you go. Yeah. Because you hold it up to the screen, it could be 3 foot tall. Yeah, there you go.
See a little aspirin in it?
Look at the time release.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. You're still a heartless bastard.
So you're not kidding. You brand them and then you give them aspirin to like ease the pain?
Yep, it makes a huge difference.
In what way?
So after a calf is branded and castrated, or the whole process, which is interesting. I'll go back to that, but so they'll go lay down, and it takes a couple days for them to recover. If you give them this aspirin,
And being branded?
yeah,
You missed the castrated part.
Yeah.
Oh,
anyways, yeah. Anyways, so you give them this, and it cuts down the time that they lay around by probably 2/3, and they recover a lot faster. And I was skeptical at first, but this actually is we use this religiously now. And then the other thing that, interesting enough, OSU just put out a study about the different ways of branding, and they measured the stress level of the animals. There's a something in your blood that you can
Cortisol.
Cortisol. Yep. Anyways, so there's different ways that you can do on a calf table, which forever seemed to be the most humane way. You can do it where you separate the cows from the calves, and you can do it where you keep the cows and the calves together. And they found out that roping them, keeping the cows and the calves together, was the one that create the least amount of stress for the animal. So
Makes sense. Yeah.
So it was a big study because it runs counterintuitive to what the humane people thought. So it's always nice to have that data to back up long-term practices. So
Yeah.
or long traditional practices, why they may seem barbaric may actually have been settled on a reasonable way to doing it just through human observation.
Okay. Yeah, whatever makes you feel better about it.
Is there a personal story you'd like to share with us about this, Joel? Or have you ever seen a calf branded, or you just stuff you've seen on YouTube and you're throwing
Yeah, I
darts?
saw
I'm
it.
just curious.
Well, I watched a documentary about it one time. It was called City Slickers.
Oh yeah, that was
Um,
that one thing. Yeah, that was. I think they were branding a Jersey calf, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't care.
I'm just curious. It's a good question.
No,
So I think it's something that's
I
on
care
people.
about the process. I
Certainly,
don't care
it's
about
something
the
that's
pain
on
of the
people's
animal.
mind as well. And so, yeah, it's people I think often forget that the whole point is at the end. And if you want to look at it from a strictly business point of view, it's really about pounds of calf you get to market at the end of the whole process. So the better off and the happier they are the entire time, the better off you are, and they are. So that's from a strictly business point of view. If you just think about it that way, anything you can do to reduce the stress and keep them on feed and keep them happy the whole entire time, the better off everybody's going to be. So,
Well, did you guys all read that New York Times opinion piece I sent you?
I glanced at pretty heavy. Yeah, I was going to have some of that, maybe some of our
Raleigh,
intellectual,
right?
but yeah.
There was
What do
quite
you
the
think, Raleigh?
kerfuffle about it on LinkedIn.
Was there?
Indeed. Yeah. When there's a kerfuffle, you know it's getting serious. Yeah.
I like the paragraph where they talked about will ranchers suffer financially? The answer is no. Like, what do you mean no? You can't just say no. They 100% will
Well, the
suffer.
article was about fake meat and how we should stop using real beef. And so for people that are listening along, yeah, will ranchers suffer? Yes. Will the population suffer? Absolutely. Yeah. And the blatant, animals contribute greatly to greenhouse gases. And then you just move on. You're like, well, I'm going to put my hand up and say no. My favorite example is when all the buffalo roamed the prairies, there was a shitload more buffalo than we have cattle now. And we didn't have these issues. So I don't know where you get this fact that the cattle are causing what you might consider greenhouse gases. I just don't buy it for a second.
You might not believe it, but there are fewer farms now than I think you said like the Civil War era.
Yep.
Like, yeah, of course, because literally everybody was a fucking farmer.
Exactly.
Back then.
They used to graze cattle on the White House. Like there's
but this fucking guy, I forget his name. I sent you a picture of him, but when I was looking for a picture of him, this guy is just like a Northeast. He lives in probably Brooklyn. He's been dating Heath Ledger's ex-wife. Not ex-wife, but widow. What was her name?
No.
That dude?
Yeah, that guy with the scarf.
We might as well, let's say his name if we're talking about his shit-ass article. And
Jonathan Safran Foyer.
Yeah, he's dating, or he was at least at one time.
This is Foyer.
Heath Ledger.
Must have took his name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the name of the article is The End of Meat is Here. Obviously, it's an opinion piece by Jonathan Safran Foyer. Is that what his name is? Yeah. May 21st.
Just sounds like somebody that knows about the beef industry. Jesus Christ.
I met him in grad school. Yeah. And I realized I should use all three of my names too. I'm really missing out on that opportunity. So we want to make sure we talk about where we got that at. But yeah, that's New York Times op-ed. The end of meat is here. If you care about the working poor, about racial justice, and about climate change, you have to stop eating animals. I had no idea I was doing all three of those by having a steak. So sorry.
It's racist, I guess, to eat a steak. I don't know.
Yeah, racial justice, working poor, and climate change. So, anyways, he's just how many things can you throw at the wall at once and make it something to stick? Yeah,
because barbecue is exclusive to white people.
We invented it. A lot of people don't know that. We should tell a lot of people that too. Yes. When I look for good barbecue in Texas, I look for the white guy out front. I disagree. Yeah. So, I mean, I make pretty good barbecue, but I know where to go. Yeah. And so, how?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, it takes all kinds, just less of that. So, yeah, that was bueno. So,
here. Come here, Richard.
Richard.
Come here, come say hi to everybody.
Do you call him Little
R-cubed?
Richard?
No.
R cubed. Richard Bradbury Jr.
R-cubed
the
is,
third.
I don't like that. Even though, God bless him, little Richard has passed on from this earthly plane
Did he?
to a
Yes.
realm that he probably. Just say hi. Okay.
It's
This
just
not
God, it's
happening.
awful. Yeah, I must have seen the screen. Wow. It's just a simple process. And that even
All right,
once you
all right.
insight into the world of Bradbury, that's really kind of
Let's-
sums it up. There we go.
Let-
Hey, Al!
What?
Yeah.
We gotta,
That's a whole
we gotta
Bradbury
start over
clan.
now.
That's,
Oh,
oh.
look at little R. R cube's like fascinated. Yeah. Yeah, way more hair than Pop.
That's the
That's the
ticker.
ticker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His nickname is the ticker.
Now, what were you saying, Mr. Joel?
We're gonna go take care of a poopy diaper.
Oh, Richard, you need to go. Oh, not Richard. Okay.
I was saying that I think we should start over.
No. We're gonna hammer down, man. Yeah.
Okay.
We can't recreate this magic.
Okay. Go on.
No, I was gonna give my weekly highlights, if you will. And speaking of highlights, I finally got into my barber shop. So
Did you get highlights?
no, I just thought it would be a nice tie-in. Yeah. So
Okay. Okay.
did I get fucking highlights? Jesus Christ. Yeah, no. I just got messy hair. He's just got a gray haircut and a cool old barber place. Yeah. So that was oddly enough one of the major highlights of the week was getting that and going through the process, and it was let's say there's some relaxed standards in Lincoln. It's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But by far one of my highlights. So and some good rain this week and some good rides on the motorcycle. So it's fitting all
That'll be good for the farmers.
in. Yar.
That's
Richard,
what my grandma said.
what's going up in your world?
Cow work is slowing down. We've got a branding Saturday that we canceled last weekend, so Raleigh and I's weather must be about a week off. And
I'll put that on pleasure
what was I
mode.
gonna say? Sorry. There we go. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, exactly.
I failed all my 7th and 9th grade students that weren't pulling the weight, and I have had a torrent of weight work coming in.
Oh, you can rattle some cages,
applying
didn't you?
I'm applying everything I'm learning about empathy and why we don't need much of it.
That's
to,
good.
like,
I was gonna
yeah.
say, scratch
So,
that. Yeah.
I don't think they'd all been failed all at once, so I really screwed myself. But everybody's turning in their work, so personal victory there.
A little motivation.
Yeah. Anyways, I feel like I've turned into my what was she? Our junior English teacher or senior English teacher?
For both, for me, I took senior
Yeah.
English, but the Falconator.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. No mercy.
No. Pain is good. Yeah.
We don't
We should
go
have a-
back.
We
Go
should have
ahead.
we should have a segment where you pull up like the most idiotic thing one of your students writes down on paper.
Well, I could tell you what it was this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's seared
I
in
love
his
to hear it.
mind.
So he had read a book, and then he proceeded to go ahead and write a book report about that book, which wasn't the book that we were doing. We were doing the Hounds of Baskerville.
Yeah.
Which
I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes, "Hey, I'm gonna turn this in for credit." I'm like, "Yeah, there's no loopholes. If you want to get graded, then you have to do the assignments that I assign in class."
So he was just randomly just doing it on another book because
Yeah,
he didn't
hasn't
like
done
yours.
any other work, but he thought, well, hey, I read this book and I did a report on it, so I'm just going to turn this in. I'm like, yeah, no, sorry. But yeah, so
Well, I want to know something stupid they say though.
That's a good start. Yeah, you're just
Yeah.
looking for some like quirky missteps.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of that.
we did have a description in the staff meeting of a kid who had spelled a word ACHOLE, and the teacher took great offense of it because he thought he was saying asshole, but in fact he was trying to spell absolute.
So the
I
teacher
was
sounds
thinking
like
alcohol.
I was thinking alcohol as well.
I thought,
look at
I
Ron's
thought for a
face.
second pretty close to icicle.
Raleigh's
I don't
eyes
know.
just popped out his head. Yeah.
So,
Either that or a spring popped up in your couch. I'm not sure what's happening there. It's like
Oh,
it woke you up.
I did do an assignment last week because it drives me crazy because for some reason the last 2 generations, and I see this on Facebook and LinkedIn, have decided that we no longer capitalize our first and last letters of our names.
Hmm.
I don't know where the hell that came
I
from.
missed that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Anyway,
still
so
do that.
yeah.
Wait,
That's
Joel,
still
wait,
offending.
wait a minute. I take offense to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I wrote on the worksheet where you put your name. I wrote name colon, and then I said, you do realize in the United States we still capitalize both our first and last names when we do write our name down. And some of them turned in, yes, I do, instead of writing their name. Or yes. So I had to send out a classified thing and I said, I understand you just did this worksheet, but if you thought it was funny to write yes after putting your name, here's newsflash for you. Go back and do your worksheet again because the computer doesn't recognize it unless you put your name in it. So anyways, I'm winning teacher of the month from the students.
There's no shame in studying a trade. Not at all.
As Judge Smales would say, the world needs ditch diggers too. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had some other highlight of the week. Oh, I had 2 really cool things happen. I have been developing a relationship with the guy that's the CEO of Rio Nutrition. Just start using some of his products. It's very expensive. I'm not really on board with it yet, but this guy is an amazing salesman. Just nice family business in Minnesota. And I'm not doing this for a plug, but he took the time. They have a really good concentration on the internet. Like when you search them, they're like Butcher Box or a lot of things. They just keep continuously coming up. And as we're learning in the direct marketing thing, I'll reach out to this guy and see if he can give us some pointers. So not only was he gracious enough to go last week and work with our grass-fed group, who we had a scheduling conflict, so he rescheduled for this week, gave a great hour-long presentation, and really sort of got some of our older members on board with doing more online video and that kind of stuff.
Oh, great.
But then we've been bouncing ideas back and forth. So he invited me to the rancher roundtable that his company puts on every month, which was last night, about 2 hours. 5 different ranchers from around North America, Canada, a couple from Idaho, one from Oregon, I think one from Alberta, and one from Kansas. And there was 100 ranchers on it, and most all of them were using video. And I get on a lot of Zoom calls with ranchers, and they have not adapted to the technology. So I just want to shout out to Trevor and Rio Nutrition because they're beginning to transform how the industry works, and I think it's a positive thing. And kudos to them. And then I had another project going before COVID hit with a lady from the East Coast that desperately wanted to help ranchers sell beef in a direct marketing way. Been advising her, and she has soldiered on and created a online shopping system that farmers and ranchers can sign up to sell their products, mostly grass-fed beef and other products, and that connects them directly to local consumers. And they broker that out. That looks like it's going to go ahead, and just really super happy to see that during this time she kept working away at that. I thought so could be a really good new tool for ranchers and farmers, and trying to include the producers as much as possible rather than having it be something that happens to them, rather something that they're a part of and can help grow and market. It's hard with the people that are in the technical crowd. They want to move faster than ranchers can and the farmers can. And so far, she's listened to my advice and advice from other people. she's growing it slow and trying to get people on board so that it actually becomes a functional platform. And so that was super exciting this week.
Yeah,
So-
I think there's a lot of potential in that. We've touched on it a couple times, even in this group of maniacs, about having that clearinghouse or that way to connect people with direct, so they can get what they're looking for from who they're looking for.
Yeah, I still don't understand the roadblocks between like why are you selling your cows to a third party? Why aren't you creating a website to do it yourself? Cut out the third party. I feel like you'd make more money, but what's and explain it like I'm 5 because I don't really understand the business. Yeah, why aren't you doing that?
Time constraints probably mostly for a rancher. Our day-to-day doesn't allow for a lot of extra time to work with technology, and most of us are a little in advanced, you could say, from technology.
But you do it a little bit, right? Like you're already doing it.
To a certain
Yeah.
extent, not from a level that's gonna reach the masses that you want to. I mean, you almost need a marketing coordinator to take care of something like that. And I've thought about like a co-op of ranchers getting together, like just like Richard's done with Desert Mountain, and then you've got a core net of to draw, and I'm sure that's along the lines where Richard's gone with that. Is they've got the resources to draw from more than one rancher, and then you do have the ability to put someone in charge of that.
But the timing, I think, is so important. You have sort of a commodity that's maximizing at a certain point in time, and when it does, that's when you need to get it to the next phase. And people aren't always ready to buy at that point. And also, usually when you sell your calves off the ranch, a lot of times, they're 6, 7, 8 weights. Probably that's for heady on 8 weights. They're not ready to be harvested yet. They've been weaned and little grain, and they need to go on to the next phase. And some people, they own them through when they go to the feedlot to get to the point where you get that great steak at Simeoti's, or you have them grass fed for another 9 months, and then they're ready. So part of it is the system's broken up into individual pieces where some people raise the calves, and then some people feed them, and then some people buy them. That's part of the thing.
Can you more simply explain also so I often hear about like regulatory roadblocks. Maybe I don't know if it's the USDA or who it is that's responsible for it, that's kind of favoring the big producers or not. I don't know if they're producers, because isn't a rancher the producer and then the middleman is, I don't know. Where's the regulatory roadblock? Is there a regulatory roadblock from you selling direct to consumer? And let's say you can get a marketing coordinator, you can get a website up and running, you can get set up your own slaughterhouse of sorts.
That's processing's the real big part of that.
Is it illegal to sell on a mass scale? Slaughter your own cows and sell?
Some states are lifting those restrictions, but usually it has to be USDA certified to be able to sell commercially. And so you can, which I can understand. We have the safest, best food in the entire world, and I'm very proud of that. And some states, I think Wyoming's one I know for sure, is released that at this time, where you can basically sell direct. Like if you want to buy a half steer, you can just go do it. It doesn't have to be going through a USDA certified facility.
Can you do that in Oregon?
No, I think there's some loopholes. I think on a smaller scale, if you own a share of the cow or if you buy it live, I think there's some small loopholes. But on a really grand scale, how you need to market to survive, that's the first roadblock, I think.
So I guess it's like, so I can't just go buy it directly from a farmer or from a rancher and then.
You could.
Well, I can, but it's
Yeah.
illegal.
No,
I guess.
you can go buy the cow from Raleigh today or Richard, and you can take it home and you can harvest it yourself, and nothing wrong with that at all.
Oh, they just can't sell the Simeoti's type of thing.
No, you can't sell the Simeoti's.
No, you have to have
Wyoming, you can do that now.
Yeah.
That's one of the things about Wyoming is now that there doesn't have to be that USDA inspection to sell at retail.
Mhm.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, I got you. You can sell to me. You can't sell to a restaurant or a grocery store.
I
Commercial
can sell the
activity.
animal. You have to pay for it to be packaged.
Yeah.
That's how it sort of works. And there's a lot of, that's sort of a shady area. Like
That's an organized mafia, is what that is.
Well, and there's a lot of times, traditionally, after you harvest an animal, it usually hangs for close to 3 weeks at least before you start even making it into steaks, just because that's the part of the aging process that's in place. We've all come accustomed to. It makes great tasting meat too. So that's part of this whole big system too, where there's these times in the middle where nothing's really going on, or you need places to store a quantity of beef, and that's why a lot of people will just, I've got 200 head of calves, I'm just going to sell them all to the next guy who thinks he can make a little bit of money putting some weight on them, and he's selling to the next guy that can keep taking those in. And that's sort of the process we've got to, where we have fewer smaller processing facilities, smaller feedlot facilities, and like they used to be really regional, or everybody had a small feedlot and just kind of did it for everybody. And then obviously economy of scale keeps kicking in, and that's part of the weakness we're seeing in our system now is there's only a few places that can really process all these animals we need on a daily basis. Instead
What's
of
the
having
difference in
500 small ones, we got 5 big ones.
what's the difference in profit margin? Or not profit margin, but like let's say you sell your steer to you slaughter it yourself and you sell it direct to consumer, you're maybe getting like $1,200-1,300 for the whole animal. If more than that,
You're going to capture a lot more value. Yeah.
so you're gonna get, let's say you get 2,000. I don't know. What would you get if you sell that to a? Well, you tell me. What's the difference? How much money are you talking about?
Like
You're
a
losing
safe
out
range for grass fed is $3,500 to $5,000, depending on the breed, cut of meat.
That's direct to consumer.
Yep.
And then what do you get if you sell it to a feedlot?
9, maybe 11.
Well, you have
Really?
less time in it too. Like I've not taken it. Richard's had that animal for 2 years.
Yeah.
You get more than double. You get more than double your revenue doing it yourself.
Yeah, but it's incredibly cost prohibitive. Like we couldn't do it without the co-op.
Yeah, because
we have to have that. We have to be able to create that economy of scale. That's why, like, this is my lecture. The internet, if you type in grass-fed, is awash with tombstones of failed grass-fed companies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the websites are still up. The grass-fed company has not existed, and like it's still trending in Google because it's such a popular thing. But the company's been shut down and shuttered for 2 years. But yeah, if you type grass-fed, I'd say probably 2 out of every 10 that you go to visit have been defunct for years.
You sell a whole cow, but I mean, you have a whole cow for sale, but not everybody always buys everything you have to sell. You have product that needs to go somewhere every time you harvest a cow. That's a huge problem or opportunity, however you want to frame it.
The killer we learned in the last 40 years is to get rid of the trim, which is the stuff that they use to make ground beef. That's your low value cut. And that's what is that's what the most of the carcass is. So like you get high dollars for the steaks and the flank steaks and the ribs and that kind of stuff. But there's only so much of that in every carcass. So you can retail that, but then you're left with hundreds of pounds of this trim that you need to sell. But the trim market is it fluctuates severely. Like sometimes it's worth $3 a pound, other times it'll be worth 62 cents a pound.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have a way, we at Country Natural Beef back in the 90s partnered with Burgerville, which is, I don't know if you've been around Portland area, but it's a
Burgerville, yeah.
And they were we finally got enough scale that we were able to supply Burgerville with the hamburger that they needed to have hamburger grown in Oregon naturally. And that's when the co-op really started to click along, because solving the trim problem created so much more opportunity to sell higher value primal cuts.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in the individual thing, selling it individually, And I was against the quarter and the half thing, but after COVID, I think that has changed, and the consumer's appetite for that has changed. So they're willing to buy non-primal cuts to have a more secure sense in the food that they're receiving. So I think this is going to be a great thing for the cattle industry if we can keep the momentum going. And that's why I've sort of been hustling around and talking to as many people as I can, because we're going to have a very short window before everybody loses momentum. So I think the next 12 months to 18 months is going to be critical for making a transition from being centralized to decentralizing the industry.
What are your thoughts on beef imports coinciding with it?
So a lot sort of broke loose this last couple of weeks. Wyoming, Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado, not Texas, oddly enough. Attorney generals filed an antitrust lawsuit.
There's about 12 or 13, I think, total.
Yeah, they might have added on, but I still cannot figure out for the life of me why Texas isn't in on it. But too many packers, I guess. But Nebraska was in on it. They have a lot of packers. I mean, too many feedlots and that kind of stuff. So I think that's going to get traction. The cool
country of origin labeling,
yeah,
is what the slang is for that.
The cattlemen were in Washington, D.C., singing a very much different tune this time around to Trump about Brazil and cautioning him not to let Brazil reintroduce cattle to the United States. But given the trade deal that they just made, I don't know if that's going to happen. And what was the one that just blows me away? We're importing cattle now from Liberia.
Namibia.
Namibia, yeah.
Yeah, easy for you to say.
I sort of pounded on ButcherBox for this already, so I won't do it again. But no, I'm clearly coming to this thing is the regulations and the what it costs to produce an animal in the United States is high because that's what the population asked for. They wanted all these regulations put in to ensure the safety of the food system, and all the American ranchers and farmers played by those rules and restructured their operations in order to meet these high standards that the American consumer wanted. As soon as we did that, raised our cost of our production and changed the price of beef went up, they imported other foods from around the world, not just beef, but all industries in agriculture are dealing with this. They brought in other foods from around the world and undercut us. And those people that we're competing with don't have to meet the same high food standards that we do. And so,
or labor laws either.
Yeah, and so how does that work? If you want to request better food, safer food, better environment, all that kind of stuff, well, then you got to pay for it.
And
Wait, is there any way to tell that if I don't want to eat beef from Namibia,
this is beautiful.
Is there a way for me to know that I'm not eating fucking Namibian beef? I want to eat U.S. beef.
This is, oh man, we couldn't script this shit any better. I say that, Mr. Joel, because there's been.
I'm guessing the answer is no.
Well, that's part of the question. There's this thing Richard mentioned it earlier. Cool, country of origin labeling. Many people think it should be mandatory that every package of meat has country of origin labeling, like product of Namibia, product of USA. Some people feel also that it's the market's job to take care of that and not be government mandated. And so
the market needs to be informed, though, in order to make a decision.
This is where the hang-up is some people want the government to enforce it, and other people think it should just come from the market. And that's why nothing's really been done about it, and it comes up every year or so. And it's a big hubbub in the beef industry between the cool kids, as you say, and the non, about how that should be handled. So I couldn't thank you more for saying that statement out loud, because that's perfectly how it come to be.
Is there an answer? I mean, it's so
well, that's why you buy. That's why people are buying from Desert Mountain and from Raleigh when he's on Facebook
Okay.
saying, I've got, that's where the market's going to.
If I'm going to the grocery store in New York City, there's a good chance my beef is from Brazil or Namibia or some shit.
There's a chance. Yeah.
I think
No.
it's 20% chance, 30% chance you're getting a product from another country.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get Gordon Smith on this line. He'll know what to do.
I'm going to put a pin in that and say, no.
Is that our senator?
Not anymore.
Was.
No.
Oh,
Former
my
senator.
favorite joke at the golf course was,
He's up at the
sorry,
house. I can
Senator.
just head up
I didn't
there.
expect to see you that far to the left when I hit my golf ball. Sorry about that. Yeah. Just saying. Yeah. But that's why there's a lot of good companies that are marketing nationwide that are U.S. sourced. So.
Oh, I don't want to. I'm jeopardizing this conversation, but I think that the interesting thing that my new tag phrase that I'm working on is it's important that so what beef industry is competing against with the butcher box is a marketing company that sells beef, and beef companies need to become much. I mean, we pride ourselves on being good marketers, but we cannot even begin to get the traction that a company like Butcher Box does.
Yeah.
They market so well that they don't have to. They're able to do this sleight of hand and bring in all this. I think they most primarily get their beef from New Zealand and Australia and Uruguay, but they still market as if it's coming off the plains of Nebraska or something.
It's something to be learned, though. I mean, they have taken that to an art level where the product's not near as important as the message. And we always approach it from the other direction, I think. Well, we're proud to talk about the product, and the message kind of just has to listen to what the product says. But, they've got something figured out. It can be taken and improved upon. So I think that's a great point, Richard, and a lesson for everybody is like, there's always somebody out there doing it most of the time. And if you can figure out how to make it yours, you're going to win.
So what you need to do is you need to get Joe Rogan on your side because he loves talking about meat. Joe Rogan needs to learn about this. If I see him in New York, I'll tell him.
Joe Salatin was on the Joe Rogan show this morning. So Joe Salatin probably doesn't mean anything to you guys, but he's like the premier regenerative agriculture guy on the East Coast.
Did he bring this up?
I haven't had time to watch it. It's the second time he's been on the Joe Rogan show, but I desperately, before we get done this podcast, want to talk about the move that Joe Rogan made this year or this week. It was amazing.
Oh, to Spotify?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's impressive. It's interesting for sure.
We're already on Spotify.
Did you?
Yeah, exactly. It's just finally catching up to us.
Did you hear the numbers though?
100 million?
Well, it's undisclosed. But did you hear what happened to?
Then why'd you ask me what the numbers were?
No, the real impressive number.
Oh,
the day of the announcement. Do you know what the market share of Spotify went up by?
Yeah,
I don't know.
$1 billion. One person shifted the market value of the company $1 billion.
Wow, that's impressive.
Makes sense. He is the modern day Oprah Winfrey. He can move markets on his own.
I think he's the most consistently listened to person on the planet.
Speaking of moving markets, I think it'd be great if he left that commie-ridden sumbitch state called California too, and went to Tejas or Nevada or anywhere that's not that crazy. I think that's waking him up. I hope it is. But yeah, he's publicly said that several times. I might have added a couple words. Yeah.
For a guy that's a self-proclaimed liberal, he's beginning to talk a lot like the crowd that you'd hear on the high tables at Symbiotic.
He's pretty libertarian in points of, the high tables at the Sims, we probably have a lot in common. Yeah.
Yeah, he is a liberal. He endorsed Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
He's a pretty far left guy.
And some things. Other ones, he's like, he goes hunting. He loves to cook and eat elk. Like, he loves to go hunting.
He's just awesome. He's my hero.
In places that he dropped that he was considering moving, Boise was high on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't
good hunting. Yeah.
I don't think Idaho needs Joe Rogan, but
That's funny. That's where I want to go. I want to move there.
Idaho.
nobody I know that moved
Yeah.
to Boise has ever left.
Yeah. Why would you? It's
I think it's a
beautiful.
I think it's a privatized cult.
Oh, that's too funny. I think
The
with that
most
high
beautiful
point,
women per capita in the world is in Boise.
Definitely good forearms.
wow, that's a lot of silence for this podcast out of that one. I don't know where you're getting your stats at, Mr. Joel.
Personal experience.
Okay.
Personal experience.
Nothing against the beautiful city of Boise, but I would probably, I'd probably beg to differ. Yeah. That's all good. It's your personal choice, though. And if you think that's what it is, then ominous, more power to you, my good sir. Yeah.
I have noticed that women from Idaho are pretty good at holding their liquor, though.
That'll give them. Yeah.
Long
And they probably don't age
Even if
well.
he's struggling to get away. Oh,
Yeah, I was just going to say, my neck is sore. I wasn't even going to go there, and you brought it out, you bastard. Yeah. I'll explain that later, Joel. Yeah. See, yeah.
I got to get up for a second.
Turn some lights on when you get back, too. We can't even see you. Not that I'm complaining, but I think with the sexually innuendo that's dripping from our podcast at this moment, it's probably a great time to shift over to our movie of the week, which was movie of the week and the Far Reaches podcast Word of the Week is brought to you by Mr. Raleigh Bigsby this week. And so, Rawls, do you want to lead us into a little bit about what the movie was and perhaps why you picked it? And we'll go from there.
Porky's, what was it, 1982?
81, I believe, according to our good friends at IMDb. Yes.
Before political correctness censoring became part of the industry.
I think where the term gratuitous nudity sort of got its start.
Yeah, it's a classic bowl of laughs, really.
I'm looking at the plot keywords on IMDb that says female full frontal nudity. That's the first plot keyword. The next one is school, then virginity, then revenge, then shower. So
How can you claim female frontal nudity when it was like naturally covered up?
that's a great question.
80s. Good
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah, like enough wool to put a sweater. Yeah, that's good point. It is technically covered up. But that time, though, that was full nudity. I mean,
that's going to make it come back because that was like, that's going to make it come back pretty soon.
Keep in mind, it was set to what, about the 1950s?
50s, I think, is kind of when it was set inside. Yeah, but that would probably increase social distancing, if you know what I mean, Mr. Joel. 54, I believe, Rawls, is when they say it was sort of set in Angel Beach, Florida, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the synopsis is, in 1954, a group of Florida high school guys try to help their buddy lose his virginity, which leads them to seek revenge on a sleazy nightclub owner and his redneck sheriff brother for harassing them. Man, it's a story as old as time.
We all went through that, didn't we?
I'm reminded of a particular story in college. We were wandering back from a social gathering, and myself and two of my roommates, of which Richard was one of them, but he wasn't at this particular juncture. And so we're trying to talk my buddy into going knocking on this girl's door. And the roommate's like, "Can we help you guys?" And we're like, no, just trying to get the roommate laid. That's all. She's like, "Well, she's not here right now." "All right, we'll come back later." So old as time, yeah. Anyway, sorry, Rawls, but that popped in my head.
Come back later.
Yeah. So
What American youth didn't try to get into a strip club underage?
yeah. Because you could. That's why. Yeah. And even in Varsity Blues, like that was the thing. They went to the titty bar, or pardon me, the exotic dancing hall. And so why did you pick this movie this week, Rawls?
Well, I actually hadn't had it in mind, but when Kelly was in California, we were
You were watching some movies when she wasn't around, or
no, well, on speakerphone and talking about last week's movie and that my week was coming up, and I don't even remember what I had picked at that point in time, but in the background, Kelly's mom says, "Why don't you pick Porky's?" And it just hit me that it was like, that is the perfect movie to lighten the commentary on this thing. So
Yes. Absolutely, yeah. And as we discussed last week, I was pretty giddy because I already owned it. It's one of my favorite movies, I think, because it's just so stupid. But it meant so much to me. It come out in 81 or whatever. I probably didn't see it till 83. I don't know, 84. I don't know exactly when. Just going off about where I lived at the time, and I lived in Lakeview. It took years to get anything on video back then. I know there was our local guy Eddie who had his own backyard VHS rental facility. Like he had a satellite dish and like 10 VCRs running at all times. So you just go down to Eddie's and you'd freaking rent a VCR because the VCR costs like $1,200, maybe even more, $1,500. Look at Joel. He's like, get off my yard.
Fucking Eddie.
Yeah. And then you could rent a movie for $3, and he had like the case and the whole shit-a-roo. He had the adult section, and yeah, you just go to Eddie's and he's in his house. So that's one of the first times I think we ever saw it. Was we rented it from there. My buddy and I did, I think, because we'd helped burn some trees and brush and stuff around there. It's like, well, you guys can have a VCR rental and some movies. So naturally, we were like 12 or something. So we picked Porky's and like Up the Creek, which is another one of the best freaking 80s movies of all time. And we snuck home and watched those things. Yeah. So just reminds me of my youth a lot and the chaos we used to get into. And the fact that we went to a dude's house and just rented movies,
I think Porky single-handedly built HBO and USA Network. I remember sneaking downstairs to watch the shower scene on HBO. I'd look in the little book that came every week.
Oh, yeah. The guide. Yeah.
Then I'd lay in my bed awake, and then when it came on, I'd sneak down, turn it on Channel 5.
Volume off. Yeah.
Back when you had to schedule your masturbation session.
Strategically. Yeah. Yeah, because you had to have a TV guide to know when the hell anything was coming on. Yeah. There was no on-screen guide or anywhere else you can look. Yeah.
The edited version was
it about 10 minutes long?
It played on a constant loop on USA Network, that and WWF. I mean, it was Porky's or WWF. Hulk Hogan, Ronnie Roddy Piper, and Porky's,
That's
what it was.
Awesome. There's such great moments in this movie, too. They pull the Mike Hunt prank on the gal at the restaurant, and meat's passed out in his chili, and the cops come give him hell. And like, especially growing up in a small town, I think we had those moments where we were out and about in public, and one of our friends was just tipped over, and the cops are like, "You need to get him home," and like, I howled laughing when they're like, I think he's diabetic. How many sugar cubes does Anthony usually take? And the cop's like, look, if you guys are bullshitting me, you're all going into jail. And Pee-wee's like, the son of a bitch does it all the time. Like instantly just turns on his buddy, and they all kind of look at him like, dude, take it easy, But it's like that one kid that was just so nervous that something was. The son of a bitch does it all the time. I just howled with laughing. What's that?
Who hasn't taken your friend to the Chinese food restaurant and have him pass out?
Or forget
fried rice,
stuff.
right? Fried rice, right?
Fried rice, yeah. So yeah, that's why I was so giddy, because it's just so many funny memories, and I think when you watch that when you're like 10 or 12, then that's kind of in your mind too when you're going to high school. Like, I can get away with this shit, or I got to try at least. So
it's funny that back in our day, and you guys are even older than I am, but I watched that when I was like 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no way you could watch a movie like that anymore when you're 10. Like, I just watched it at Brian's, and Morgan is 8 or 9. Wouldn't let her anywhere near the room we were watching it in. Kept having to pause it. But we were watching that freely. And with enthusiasm.
With enthusiasm, even.
Well, you weren't bugging your parents, so what the hell? They're fine.
Dude, that movie, I'm going to volunteer. I'm going to take, is this fine that I can talk about my view on it?
Oh, yeah, sure. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was super impressed with the production quality of that movie. I was expecting, because I hadn't seen it in years, but I was expecting something more along the lines of Police Academy, where it was like, this is cheap. This
Oh.
is not a cheap movie. This is really well done. The acting was fantastic. The comedy was good. Still holds up. It makes you just pine to live in that era if you're a man. I don't know how women would feel about that. It's probably not
I
the
think
same.
Lassie liked it.
I think it was Canada's first produced talkie, so they really wanted to nail it.
It was so good. There was I don't know. There were some random things in there that all '80s movies have, which is like the significant amount of racism and anti-Semitism.
Oh yeah. Oh,
like
just overflowing. Yeah, like
with no purpose. It doesn't add to the story at all.
I think it was just the fact that they could finally look back and pointed out how ridiculous it was. And I don't know if it was. I'm sure there's places it was that bad, and probably places that it wasn't. But I think they could kind of point back. And what were you saying, Rollins?
Well, if you look at the whole scene of it, by the end of it, the guys that were making fun of the Jewish kid, and that the roles reversed on them, and they got a better look at how life has changed, and that was kind of a afterthought after watching it. Was they at first you're like, I mean, the opening line was, I don't remember the guy's name, asking if they got the black guy to come.
Oh yeah.
And by the end of it, the guys that were the racist or the ones that were Jew hater or whatever, they kind of had egg on their face by the end of the movie. One of them got his ass kicked every time he went to Porky's, and the other one, he became friends with the Jewish kid, and it was kind of a, you look at that, and it was a jab at the racist and anti-Semitism.
Yeah, good point, Ross. I hadn't really put those two together, but yeah, the redneck kid, and he was like proud, like redneck rebel proud, and he is the one that kept getting his wheat shredded at Porky's and almost died. Yeah, another kid is, his dad was an a-hole, and then he ended up getting to be good friends with Schwartz. Yeah.
That Porky's must have. Well, I don't know. There might have been an earlier movie that I don't know about, but it's interesting to see how far back the trope goes of all of these. So I was telling Brian too. So you look at like Varsity Blues, Dazed and Confused, the American Pie movies. Like the characters are pretty consistent, aren't they? You have like
I think because they reflect society pretty well. Yeah.
The big jock, the dumb redneck, and you got I thought that was interesting.
The nervous, awkward kid, like super bad, the same kind,
The horny kid.
Yeah, even all the John Hughes films, that's why they're so popular, I think, a lot of times, just because they really represent, a lot of people can directly relate to these characters.
It was our high school years. I mean, definitely. We all had that character in our group.
The girls were a lot better looking in the movie than they were in my high school.
You should have been to Boise. That'll learn you.
I went to the wrong high school.
Yeah, that'll learn you. And I think those characters shifted amongst people too. I think also depending on the situation. It's that classic coming of age, tormented. The pranks and the jokes with like the eggs. That was just beyond hilarious because that rang a lot of bells for sure.
Yeah, if we had a star system, we don't. We should establish one. Maybe a
rating system of such.
Like on a 15 point scale. What's an appropriate scale?
We're gonna have to ponder this. Logarithmic. Let's go logarithmic. That would be fun.
Don't talk math.
Let's go
I don't want to hear about math right now, Micah.
Let's go like 1 to
Damn
Subaru.
it, logarithm.
What'd you say, Richard?
Let's go to 1 to Subaru.
1 to Subaru.
I'll rate it.
Let's ponder that, shall we? I think you're right, Mr. Joel. That makes a good sense. Some sort of way to categorize these deep thoughts.
That's it. We should do it by cars, like Pinto,
Well, no, because then we're going to have to agree on the stratification of the cars to begin with. That's going to take
Way
a
too
year.
complicated, Richard. Way too complicated.
so much more fun.
I know, it's a good thought.
Especially-
I mean,
I think Porky's. We should relate them to a car. Porky's would be like a like that. Really, I don't know what it would
it's
be.
like your first car.
It'd be like a Ford Maverick.
I was gonna say a Ford Taurus,
Taurus.
the Raging Bull.
Maybe
The Raging Bull. Yes.
maybe for our
I called it, yeah.
podcast, maybe for our podcast, the rating system could be better or worse than Porky's.
So it's sort of our
This sets the
the
standard.
foundation, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
The baseline.
yeah.
That's
Like Police
interesting.
Academy was worse than Porky's. Well, everything's to date has been worse than Porky's. Porky's been the best movie.
Okay.
At least you haven't even seen all the movies yet.
This is the most commitment that he
Yeah.
has had.
I know, and that's
for a
why there's
movie,
like
yeah.
just stunned silence too,
It's
like
a-
complete silence. Like, it wasn't
I'm-
like a audio felt; it was complete silence.
I feel like I'm insulting Porky's by calling it a movie. It's a film.
Thank you. That is a deep discussion there. Film versus movie. I like where you're going with this, though. It makes good sense, and I like your commitment to it, and the fact that you actually watched it is even more. Yeah, that says a lot.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
You've
My
done well,
favorite
Ross.
line. Does everybody have a favorite line from the movie? My favorite line was early on when they go to that remote cabin out of town.
Oh, for Cherry Forever.
Yeah, I think they're all gonna get laid, and the gal comes out and checks them all out, and she says, "We're gonna have to strap a board to his ass. So he's liable to fall in."
Yeah. Says a lot about everybody involved in that situation. Yeah.
That's a good scene. I wonder what was I thinking when I was 10 years old watching this. I don't know what they're
I
talking
don't want to know.
about.
You probably missed half of it, I'm sure.
I just saw boobs and bush, and maybe I don't know. I don't know what our audience is like, but another thing I was talking about is boob shape by decade.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's changed significantly.
Have you ever noticed how that changes?
Part of it's with the bras, I think, obviously, but if they're like exposed breasts, it's different. Yeah.
I feel like the 80s was more of like a banana.
Kind of a
Like-
swooping. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, right.
until we
I
got
think if
into-
you go back to the
until you got
70s,
into
it's more of a
heavy
torpedo.
metal posters.
Say again, Richard?
Until you got into the heavy metal posters, then they got more engineered.
Bolt-ons. They're called bolt-ons.
Bolt-ons.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
That didn't arrive till like the mid to late 80s, probably. But before that,
60s was a good year.
And there's a study there for sure. And oddly enough, I just recently looked at the demographics of this podcast. Would anybody care to guesstimate the percentage of male versus female viewership? Any guesses?
60-40.
Which way?
Men.
60-40 for Richard.
80-20.
80-20 men versus females.
nature's equation. I'm going to go 80-20 as well.
I'm gonna go female 80.
You were almost dead nuts on, Rawls. It's like 77% last time I looked. Female audience. I had to check it twice. Yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna skip to the end. That's the best thing that's happened to me this week.
Richard's taking that one off the
We're gonna
board.
just drop the mic. This podcast is
The
over.
best show of the week. Draft. Richard just took that off the board. #1 draft. Yeah, look at that. They're like, insight. I think they want insight. I don't know. Yeah. So I was completely shocked. I was encouraged. I thought I did not expect that. So well done, Rawls. Why did you guess that?
What are our figures? I mean, what numbers? Do you know actual
Well,
numbers?
some are hourglass and a little bit, or some are more plump. But
Some are for Boise,
pretty
some are
average.
not. Yeah.
Lakeview figures, not
Oh,
Lakeview.
ciphering. Yeah.
There's a very big woman in Pilot Rock that's skewing the numbers.
Her name is Juanita. Oh, sorry. Juanita lives on Long Creek, actually.
So we just lost that demographic.
Oh, Juanita.
And we lost the Pilot Rock.
You
Yeah.
made sure that right off the bat. Yeah, there's some of my really good friends live in Pete Rock, you bastard.
I'm from Pilot Rock.
That doesn't mean you can say it.
I had a buddy,
Yeah.
I had
Yeah,
a buddy
that's the
that
thing.
married a girl from Pilot Rock, and while they were married, he'd call her a hillbilly. That's really rude to call your wife a hillbilly. And
I
turns
like
out
how you said while
was.
they were married, because of course they're divorced.
yeah.
You didn't even need to imply that. I would have guessed.
You finished the story. I'm dying to know what the rest of that was now.
Sorry, yeah. Go on.
What was the rest of your story, Richard?
Oh, it turns out she was.
Oh, okay. And you got to say turns out. So that's the best part right there. Holy sweet Jesus. Yeah. Back to what we were talking about. Yeah. Rating scale. We need to figure one of those out. We'll work on that for sure. Yeah. And it's sometime we'll look into Joel's boob theory also. So
Stay tuned for that episode. Yeah.
yes. Say again, Rawls?
What were the actual numbers? I mean, what are we at? Or does it say?
I don't remember. I just was like passed out when I saw the split in the demographics. So, yeah, we're getting, I think, getting some decent membership or listeners. So, and a lot of repeat offenders. So,
Yeah, not that the
thank you to
first
that.
listeners were bad.
No,
Just like the
not
new
at all.
ones better.
The new ones are even better. Yeah, a lot of them are the same as far as I can tell. So.
So does
I
Nice
heard
Lady, what demographic does Nice Lady go in?
Oh, that's a shifting demographic for sure. Yeah.
That one's right down the middle.
Yes, sir.
The talk of the table at Semioti's was that, so the listener feedback, there were some listeners there.
Well, outstanding. We got some reader mail. Yeah.
I had to move.
They want you to start putting previews about what the episode's about again. I guess you stopped doing that.
I don't think I did, but
Oh.
I'll look
Well,
into
that's
that.
what I
Yeah.
heard. That's what I heard. And then the other talk was that.
I used to do a preview during the week. I would give a little insight, maybe.
I'm talking about a description of what the podcast is about.
That's the one there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, then she's wrong. I'll
I
tell
can't
you who
even
it
describe
was.
the podcast.
Maybe I'll put some more detail in though. I have gotten the last couple. I've gotten lazy on how many topics I talk about in the description. So good feedback. Yes. Any more listener mail?
No, the other talk of the table was that you started a different podcast.
Yes, I have another one also. Yeah.
What
So
the hell?
we're all upset about that.
Well, we are. It was another one in the works at the same amount of time. Yeah. So.
All right. I hope
Yeah.
that one fails. Because that's horseshit.
I think not. It's completely different topics, man. It's all about one single movie.
It's about
we talk
movies.
about. It's about one single movie, and that's all we talk about in the entire podcast is one movie.
All right. Tell it to the listeners.
I will. Yeah. Let them decide. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good feedback, though. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Noted.
Super good.
Definitely at some point in time, we should try to arrange for a live at Semioti's with
Yes.
all of us there.
I would most love to do that for sure.
I want to do the grotto at Hamley's.
Could do that too. When Rawls and I first started talking about that was one of the things we said was if we did a podcast, we would just set up a microphone at the tall table on Friday night and catch what happens. That was the first thought. Yeah. So.
Too much Carl.
Well, you know, the roast is going to fade out pretty quickly, depending on who's making the G&Ts. So it's a natural selection on that one.
We also have Junior coming up because the other feedback I got was Junior coming up to tell me repeatedly how much the podcast sucks.
Every time I listen to it, it sucks.
I can't imagine Junior repeating himself.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's weird.
he highlights something we talked about in the middle of the podcast. I think I already talked about this on here. But
Yeah, we did. We mentioned it, but yeah, it
does
still
that
strikes me as
constantly.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's clearly.
See,
he's clearly one
we're
of
more
those-
than halfway in. So, hey, JR, thanks for listening, man. We love you, buddy. Too funny. Too funny. I love good feedback, though. The fact that it was a conversation point at the tall table at Sims is pretty impressive. So,
They don't know what else to talk to me about. I think is the problem.
not bitching about New York or anything. Come on, there's plenty of stuff there.
Yeah, the guy that I don't even know who he was. I think he listens actually, but sorry, buddy. But he came up to me talking about Corvid.
Mm-hmm. That's
I don't know what
shocking,
to
isn't it?
do. What do you do with somebody like that calls it fucking Corvid?
Just let them go on their way. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when
I
people
would've
call it Oregon, you just go piss off. Yeah. Rolly, you're raising your hand? Is that what you did?
Yeah, was
Okay.
he a really tall guy?
No, he was actually really short. He was probably like 5'7", 5'8".
I was thinking it was swine pipe. That sounds like something he'd say.
It totally does. Poor Flu. He's a highly educated individual. He just acts like it sometimes. So yeah,
He looked like the average like 5'8" guy you run into in the rainbow type of guy.
All righty then.
I don't know how else to describe him.
Huh. Well, we'll have to figure out who it is off air, and that way we can laugh about him. So I mean,
Yeah, he's probably gonna punch me in the face now next time I go down.
now you know he's listening at least. So just say, hey, thanks for your membership and your listening. Yeah, we appreciate it.
The first time somebody's want to punch you in the face, though, Joel.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think it's an unrelated matter. Yeah. Wait till he gets to know you.
I've only been punched once. Doesn't
Yeah,
hurt
it
that
says a
bad.
lot about society, really. It says a lot about society.
Well, Pilot Rock's got in for him now. So
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to send a couple texts out there anyways just to wake him up. So
I should be on like the notable residents Wikipedia page of Pilot Rock is what I should be.
well, I think you could do that. Isn't that the point of Wikipedia? Anybody could make an entry.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, I think that's a good project for you tomorrow.
Notable
residents
residents.
of Pete Rock.
Joel moved to Pendleton in his later years.
You could tell the story and then just put like a ... to be continued, I guess, if you wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Any other final thoughts on Porky's since we've gone way off the reservation on the movie? I think we talked briefly last time that Porky's 1 and 2 were filmed at the same time and then just split into 2 movies, which was pretty cool.
We
Because the next
We
day
didn't talk about that.
I don't think you were listening at that point. Yeah.
The next movie should almost be the sequel.
The next day, is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Our next week.
Well, that's what it's called, the next day. Yeah.
Well,
Whose
yeah.
turn is it to pick a movie?
I think it's yours.
Fuck yeah.
I just want to go back to the fact that it was produced by Canadians. That just blows my mind. That was a Canadian story. And then
And they picked Florida of all places too. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
And then I think the other great thing is like that shower scene held weight until Starship Troopers.
Great point. I will watch Starship Troopers till that, and then I'll move on. Yeah.
I love
And then-
it. Oh, God. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to talk about Porky's when they're in the principal's office. And
The description. Yeah.
Mrs. Ballbreaker was, I love her name is Mrs. Ballbreaker.
Yeah.
Ms. Ballbreaker.
I gotta stop. Is she gay? Just we're going back to gay.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's not.
Because I'm trying to
She's
figure out.
not.
She was after the principal. She had the hots for the principal, obviously.
No, you could tell by her figure.
No, in part 2 or 3, she's after Snuffy. Remember her high school love? Come on, kids. Remember your Porky's trivia.
She's closeted.
Okay. Great question, though, Rolls.
So when she was talking about putting the boys in a lineup, to a penis lineup,
Tallywhacker?
yeah, she's like, "Can we? Penis is too personal. Call it a tallywhacker."
I know. Let's call the police sketch artist over. He can draw it up and we can hang up posters all over town. Yeah.
Call this number. You've seen this prick.
Yeah. And I just found on IMDb too that in '82, when Porky's came out, it was the top movie in the US for 8 weeks and was second only to E.T. as far as number one spot. I had no idea it was that popular when it first came out.
So was American Graffiti first or was Porky's first?
Oh, you bastard. I'll have to look it up. I don't remember
And
off
then
the top of my head when Graffiti was.
The other thing that I want to make is Biloxi Blues with Matthew Broderick.
Graffiti was way before 73.
Oh, yeah. But it's a lot of the same thing. But Biloxi Blues is basically Porky's.
Well, you have the young, innocent soldier in Matthew Broderick. He's in a Southern whorehouse.
He has the same cast of friends. They get in the same trouble.
That's true.
Yeah, it's basically like a
they're in boot camp instead of high school, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great point. Wow. Deep dive, Richard. Well done, sir. It's because didn't Neil Simon write Biloxi Blues? Is that correct? Wasn't it based on a play or vice versa?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, yeah. Wow. I like how we went from Alien then to Porky's, and then we've tied in Biloxi Blues and E.T. also, and Boob Shapes.
Starship Troopers.
And Starship Troopers, yes. Indeed. Salute, yeah. Rowley, I can't say how appreciative I am that you picked this movie for this week. It was
I do have a final bitch.
Oh, please do, yes.
You own the movie. The only other way to obtain it is through Apple.
I think so.
I've never gone onto Roku and found the only place that you can buy a movie is on Apple.
That was sort of like, what did I have to buy last time? Then you're like, oh, it's on Crackle. I was like, son of a bitch. What movie was that? I don't remember what it was, but I
didn't pick it. Somebody else picked it.
Yeah. But anyways,
it was good. Whatever it was. Trying to remember.
It was
the
Johnny
Police
Five.
Academy.
Oh, it was Johnny Five. Yeah, Short Circuit.
Yep, Short Circuit.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. I ended up renting it off Apple, and you said, oh, it's for free on Crackle. I'm like, the one place besides Cody I didn't check for a free movie. So I'm not, Joel's doing something like he's calling us banker, I guess.
Uh-oh.
Riveting podcast moments. So, Rawls, so we've had your movie of the week. Now, I'm desperately dying to know what the Far Reaches podcast word of the week is.
An overshot.
Say again, please.
An overshot.
Overshot.
Ooh.
Overshot. And not like I drove too far and overshot the corner. More of yeah. Richard, do you know what an overshot is?
Is it a particularly technique of roping?
No. Good guess though. Yeah. Joel, any questions? Are you listening still? Or searching for free porn?
You're asking what overshot means. I don't know. I think it's probably something like mission creep, where like you have an objective and then you change your mind, sort of like how governments are doing with COVID-19.
Wow, you took a journey on that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
No, I don't argue with you. Yeah, I don't know either, Ralph. Enlighten us, if you will, good sir.
Well, I have one more guess.
Oh, okay, please do.
Is it when somebody was in the army and they called and chewed Jocko Willick's ass, and then they went and saw him physically in person, and they realized, oh, I overshot.
That would be in that context. That's exactly what that is. Yes. Like, oh shit, that dude's real. Yeah.
I have to say, just before we get to the word, I have to tell you a Jocko story I heard. So when you leave the Army, you're supposed to go to all these trading seminars and acclimate back into the regular world.
Yeah.
They told Jocko he did that. And he says, "No, I'm leaving tomorrow."
I skipped those as well. Because I did, I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, I skipped that training as well. I'm like, obviously it worked well for me. So yeah.
Joel just pile drived into the door.
Yeah, I think he's got a poop. Yeah. So
Yeah, he was in a hurry.
I haven't seen Joe that motivated in quite a while. He must have got a text from Pilot Rock or something. Yeah. Rawls, would you care to enlighten us? We'll catch that a-hole up whenever he gets back.
I suppose it's kind of a similar lingo to crummy.
Oh.
But
Well, it's regional. Yeah.
yeah, at least in this portion of the world, our flatbeds up here will have a catcher up over the cab known as a overshot or a dog catcher. I've also heard shot portion of a stock trailer, the neck overshot too at times, but the overshot.
I'd never heard that phrase. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've stood up there. I've dragged spare tires and handyman jacks off of there and kicked dogs off. I've never heard it called that though.
Yeah, sometimes it's called the dog catcher.
Richard, what do you call it up there? Do you know? Do you have a name for it?
On the fifth wheel, we call it the snooper or the gooseneck.
The gooseneck,
and then,
yeah.
I don't know, get the crap out of the box above the cab.
Get the jack. Of course, it's way up in that son of a gun. Yeah. Yeah. So that's really interesting. Even so close really to each other geographically, that word hadn't really traversed like crummy. Crummy is pretty much a Northwest word. We all kind of know what it means. But overshot was completely kind of isolated in that northeast part of the state. I found that interesting.
And you don't, and a lot of places you go, you don't see have them. They're somewhat synonymous to this region up here. In fact, I had a friend, Tex Sutphin. He's from down your guys' country, the Sutphin family. But called me a while back and was asking me if I knew of any flatbeds up here, used ones for sale, because you rarely saw them anywhere else. And he was wanting to get one to mount a chair up there on so he could drive through the desert and shoot coyotes off.
Oh, nice.
That's keeping with family tradition.
Indeed, yes. Long and storied tradition, yes.
Exactly why, we don't need militia in Lake County.
Well, you don't need it to be official anyways. Yeah. There be meetings and shit. No, I'm not really interested in that, but you call, I'll be there. Yeah.
Could I bring my overshot with the chair?
Yeah. Can you? Hell, we're counting on it there. Why do you think you're on the list anyways? You remember at college rodeo one year in LeGrand, Richard, somebody crawled into the wrong overshot or gooseneck of a trailer and ended up waking up in Ellensburg.
No, but I
hear about that? Yeah, they crawled up in there to go take a little nappy nap during college rodeo, and they picked the wrong trailer, even though it looked like theirs. And yeah, they woke up.
And this didn't happen to Ty Olson.
It wasn't F. Ty. It wasn't Boyo. I can't remember who it was, but it was one of our college rodeos there. Yeah, somebody fell asleep there and did not expect to wake up in Eberg. Yeah.
Well, Toyo would have just assumed he planned it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
He would have just went with it.
It sounds more like a Travis Lockie story.
It does sound like a flop story. I don't think it was flop though. It was a little wiry kid. He kind of looked like Matt Zimmerman. It wasn't Matt. It was somebody else. But say again.
Did he go to Blue?
No, I think it was Walla Walla or Hermiston maybe, but I can't say for 100%. That part's fuzzy. Yeah.
Who's back then that could have been.
Exactly. I just remember Yeah, crawled in there to go take a little nappy nap, and then woke up in Ellensburg. So.
I remember it took us 3 pickups to get to Pendleton one time from a party we went to with the Blue Year boys. We just kept getting consolidated. We started in the back seat of a pickup, and we got so far down the road, and for some reason it stopped working. And then we got in another one. We ran off the road, and it got stuck. So we all ended up like a Geo Metro, 7 of us, trying to get back to the dorm rooms at Pendleton, all looped up on homemade strawberry wine.
There's dorm rooms in Pendleton.
Yeah.
Apartments, I guess.
Yeah,
Can you tell me exactly where they are?
they're
They're
Van
at Harvard on the Hill,
down by the river.
overlooking the prison.
It's funny, Joel, because you had your headphones in. We could hear you mixing your drink like in the other room. I was really confused for a moment. Yeah, good thing you weren't taking a leak or something. Yeah, but I heard like shling, ling, 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 and you're talking to us, and I'm like, he didn't come back in the room. Yeah, so those of you watching on video know what we're
Memorial
talking about.
Weekend.
There you go. This is powwow weekend, isn't it?
It's this coming weekend, isn't it? Or
Yeah.
is it this?
It's Memorial Weekend, right? Yeah.
Aren't you guys critical to that?
Well, at one time, yeah. I don't think they're powwowing this weekend, but we used to.
I don't think it's been I can't remember when the last one was. It's been 10 years probably.
We had a reunion when I moved back to P-Town.
Yeah, was that
I
what,
don't think it was because I moved back to P-Town, but that's the year we had a reunion. Yeah.
09 or something?
Maybe so, yeah. There's a banner somewhere that distributor made up for us. We had our powwow reunion banner.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a podcast solely on the powwow sometime.
Damn it, this is just piss poor timing on my part. I just now realized A, that it's Memorial Day weekend, and B, yeah, we should have done powwow review.
Raleigh, you have a bunch of land up there. Why don't we just powwow out your property?
It's not the same.
Do it on government property. The liability is better.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel better about chopping down government trees than I do yours, Raleigh.
Here's the question I have. So I have to go. I have a buddy coming and his wife coming down from Seattle this weekend. We want to go camping. How do you go camping? Like, so my family used to have a cabin. That's the only place I've ever camped, up on Birch Creek. And then, like, if you want to go and you don't own land, how do you find a place to go?
Public lands are usually a good place to start.
What's the hotel across from the White House?
Oh, the Royal Motor Inn.
Yeah, that's like camping.
Yeah, that's rustic. Yeah. But I think, I'm not sure about what's going on in the People's Republic of Oregon, but usually like Forest Service lands, public lands, there's designated campsites.
Yeah, but how do you find public land? How do you know if it's public versus private?
You look on your little mappy map there. You can get a map, shows you.
Exxon
Where
Hunt.
do you get a map? It's not on Google Maps.
Upload.
Hunt.
I have to go to a gas station, but you guys have a map.
Just get an app called Onyx Maps.
Damn it, I said it wrong.
Private or what's public.
What's it called again, Raleigh?
Onyx, ONYX.
I think it's YX, yeah.
That'll show you public, like Forest Service land or something.
It'll show you private and public. It's just ONX Hunt. It's actually a hunting app, so you can look at different landowners' places, and you know you're trespassing. But it shows you all the government stuff.
And when you're looking on the Google, it should say like Willapa Whitman National Forest on the map, the places, or such and such park, or etc. So, and then you can check on those and see if they're or there's campgrounds and the like. So, but you just head up past Ukiah, you'll find it.
Yeah, you're good.
I would go to Indian Lake or something for you, Joel, but that might be a little Pilot Rock after this episode. So.
Yeah, I heard like after the rain the last couple nights, the road got washed out, headed up to Birch Creek, and then Indian Lake, of course, is closed to white folks.
You can go check out Olive Lake, maybe go up that way.
There might be too much snow up there still.
Yeah, you could bust into Lunchbox's cabin too, maybe. So.
Whose lunchbox?
I'm not going to say on here. Yeah.
Okay. that Bill?
Where we used to
Why
have
did
powwows out past Ukiah Flats.
I was out of Starkey.
Yeah.
You went on up the Grand Ron River.
Yeah, if you
until
turn right to go to Ukiah, you just go straight up to the Starkey store and up that direction.
up to Vay Meadows and then went out
That's
to
it, yeah.
the Rainbow Road.
How quickly it all comes back, or I don't think Raleigh ever forgot those destructions. Yeah.
Could get there on your buzz.
Easy, I just aimed high and to the right. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to have a special powwow episode because.
But though that was my. How many people can you get on here at one time?
I think 100.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit, we could have a hell of a powwow.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we could virtual powwow.
we could get all of our listeners.
Yeah, we
Well,
could. You just invite them all on here.
It's fun to get a bunch of the people that went to that and reminisce on some of the stories, and it might get a little interesting at moments, but there'd be some good listening.
You know, that's a great idea, Rawls. We could probably put something like that together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy
Ty that
just to
writes
get us all
poetry
scheduled at
about
the
it?
same time. It shouldn't be too difficult at all.
Get spatula.
We
and
need
bark
spatula and Irwinch
shit.
and buck knuckle. Yeah. And
Spoon.
badger, spoon,
Yeah.
badger, flu.
Little Smirnoff man.
Yeah. We need sucking on chili dogs. We need 10 cord, and we need running elk shit. We need cold. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, there was some good
Cold arms. 10 cord. I haven't said 10 cord out loud in forever.
get the crystal
Yeah.
rubes.
Oh, goodness. So, great
Yeah.
word of the week, too, by the way, Rolls. Great word of the week.
Mm-hmm. Where are we at?
Well, we usually bust on into the what we learned at this point. Yeah.
Richard, what have you learned?
Richard learned me.
I'm still excited about the demographic breakdown.
Yeah. Richard learned that, and that's his best moment and what he learned. Damn it.
Oh, what have I learned? Porky's was influential in so many movies that followed.
Great point. Yeah.
Yes.
I would agree. I would definitely agree. Yes.
I would venture to say not just movies that followed, but a lot of that era in the 80s was influential.
Porky's Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club. Come on, Donger.
Long Duck Dong. Yeah.
Yeah. Guy's still a celebrity. He hasn't
I know,
even been
kidding.
in a movie for 30 years.
Yeah. Risky Business. What's his name? Still doing pizza commercials. Yeah. Booger from Revenge of the Nerds and also in Risky Business. Yeah.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah. The youth, you got to fight back. So, Joel, what'd you learn, my good sir?
I always get hung up on this. I don't.
It is a surprise every week. I know. We can
Yeah.
come back to you if you want. And it doesn't, again, it has to be like, reinventing the Pythagorean theorem or anything. It's.
Well, I mean, right before I got on this, I knew it was going to be asked. So I asked Jess, like, what did I learn this week? And she was like, horses lay down. I'm like, I already knew horses lay down.
Jess didn't. That was pretty significant.
And then now Pendleton has those 700 goats in town now going on in the Umatilla.
Yeah.
She's like, they poop pellets. I'm like, I already knew that.
You know your shit.
And I'm like, what can you? And so I said, I'm like, what can you teach a man that already knows everything?
When you meet him, ask him. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't learn anything. I just heard stuff repeatedly that I already knew.
That's the curse of knowing everything already. That can be difficult.
It is. It gets more difficult as you age because there's more and more stuff that I already know.
You should write a book. Yeah, or definitely update your Wikipedia page. Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Bigsby, I'm dying to know what you learned this week. Or in this podcast, however you want to frame it.
Well, it's kind of a coincide favorite moment of the week or whatnot. But so it's been longer than that. A couple of years ago, I ordered pair of handmade boots from a boot maker in Pendleton, Rich Stapleman down at Stapleman Boots across from Hamley's. And the leather that he had put on was less than desirable. It fell apart pretty fast on the boots. And so last summer I'd taken him in there and he said he'd get around to get me another pair made. Well, I just went ahead and ordered another pair of them just to get. Well, when I got there, he had a really nice pair of boots made, and I had fully intended to pay for them and have him fix the other ones. But he said, no, I'm standing behind my product, and those were not Stapleman boots, and I don't want that quality out there. And totally, I mean, we're talking $800 for a pair of boots. Well, he said, I'm taking those ones back, and these are your boots. You're not paying for them. And it kind of, in the time that we live in, where small businesses are so scrutinized and having a hard time surviving, it meant a lot to see the quality that our small businesses put out there for the American people. And I learned that diligence is still there within our small businesses, and something to still believe in and stick by. And you can't buy everything at Walmart. So
it's a hell of an advertisement. It's not an advertisement. It's a testimonial.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going down there this week. I'm going to get boots from them too. Then.
No, he does a fantastic job, and you know, he just is a really good guy that wants to stand behind his product. And I hadn't intended on that even happening. Didn't care if it did. I like the product he was making. It just he had a bad hide of leather that he made some boots out of, and then it happened.
Yeah.
So I didn't take it personal or anything. I just was figuring on ordering another pair and going about my business. But it was neat to see that kind of honesty in our society still. So
where is that place?
it's right across the street from Hamley's.
Is it on Main or on
It's
Spain or what the hell that one that runs through town?
Yeah,
I can't think of the name.
One that runs by the courthouse, right? If you walk out the either the Hamley's store or the Hamley's restaurant and look straight across the street from the Hamley's restaurant, it's right across the street.
By the old Pendleton Athletic.
Actually, I think
I
think it might be in the old Dean's old athletics. I think that might be the actual business front. So
all right.
No, I'm confused. Yeah.
But before your time, Micah, Dean's Pendleton Athletic was right over there.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Then
Because I was
it
thinking
became a
down
baseball
from
card
Bud's is
shop.
basically, yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
No,
Okay. I thought I was slipping.
The same street side that was on there.
Yeah. Perfect. Whew. I thought my memory was going even worse than it already is. Yeah.
No. But yeah, that's what I learned this week.
Damn. That's a pretty good lesson. Yeah.
Michael, would you?
Shit, I don't really know. This is a surprise for me. I learned that some people you think that are really, really smart in some parts of the world and things aren't in other things. I had some good, interesting, intense Facebook conversation this week about the Rona. And in particular, a person I know who's like, in my world, world-renowned genomic scientist. He and I see way differently on the Rona. And, I have a tremendous amount of respect for this person. And he's brilliant in some regards. And one that I wouldn't figure would have that response. But it's a good conversation nonetheless. But it just kind of reminds you that we all have our opinion. That's great. We also have our freedoms and our choices. And so they kind of go hand in hand. I can't wait to see him at a meeting and buy him a beer and kick him in the ass. He'll probably do the same to me. But it was a good conversation. But you never know where somebody's coming from based on what else you think they know. So that's what I learned. Rumpf. Yes.
Rump.
Learned a real lesson there.
I wouldn't say it's a lesson. It's just an
I
insight.
take back.
Oh.
I did learn something. I'm surprised how fast it took Joel to go back to full native Oregonian. like the transition. Less than 7 days, I think.
Yeah,
Under
it was.
7 days. Just like from New
I
Yorker
appreciate that.
to Burley, Oregonian, just like that.
Yeah,
Must be the
some-
water.
Some asshole in Brooklyn doesn't know what he's talking about. We're like, yeah, we fucking know him. Yeah.
I had a work thing, a work happy hour tonight, which is like so they picked two teams for the happy hour, and it was with the head of compliance for the United States. So she's a big deal. She's really cool. I really like her. She's British. Not sure what that has to do with anything, but I'm just pointing that out. But we had our happy hour tonight, and then I took my phone outside to the barn. I took it from the barn, and just to prove that I'm an Oregonian, and because they're all in their palatial palaces, and they're like, "Joel, where are you?" I'm like, "Well, that's hay behind me, and that's a tractor." And
Did you yuck it up just a little bit for him, or did you kind of yuck it up a little?
For
Okay.
sure,
Good.
yeah. When it comes down to it, like I don't pass mustard. Is that mustard or muster?
Muster. M-U-S-T-E-R. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't pass muster with the likes of you three, but
Well, you're from P-Rock. You do all right.
I do well enough to fool New Yorkers is what I can do.
And you're damn proud of it. That's the most important part. That's outstanding.
Too liberal for Pendleton, too right.
There's your next freaking song right there, my good sir.
Yeah, there you go.
Stuck between two worlds. Yeah. Take it as you will. Yeah. So I'll gently ease us into our final segment of the day. It's the best thing of the week, which is one of my favorites because it kind of gives a sense of where everybody's at and kind of hopefully end on a high note. So I will start actually, I guess, since I'm talking already, which is a surprise. Actually in final negotiations for a job I'm really, really excited about, and hoping to get the final paperwork tomorrow so I can sign on the dotted line and then be able to go forward in that adventure. I've been looking at a lot of different opportunities since December, actually. And so
will you move or?
Yes, I will be moving. Yeah.
To where?
To Florida.
Oh,
Yeah.
What part of Florida? Gainesville?
Yes.
good
Really?
guess.
Yeah. Around the Gainesville area. Yeah.
All right.
If
Lot of alligators
paperwork
there.
comes back in tomorrow and everything's like we've been discussing and no meteorite or some crazy shit doesn't hit, then yeah, that's kind of the plan. So I'll have, it's not official. Like I said, I haven't signed anything. We've just had our back and forths and if A, then B and all the dotted stuff. So yeah, I expect to get that tomorrow and get her all sealed and delivered. So we'll have updates on that as it unfolds. But
If we ever have a football season again, I'm coming down.
see, yeah, and I know we will because it's in Florida for one, and they're actually saying, yeah, that place is open. They're doing business.
Yeah, did you see the governor's smackdown of the media?
He did karate chop the bejesus out of him. Yeah, I got to tell you, that helped put me over the top. Like, honestly, I'm not shitting you. I had one particular job I was looking at was based in Oregon alone, and that was really difficult for me. As much as I love everybody there and all the places, it was I couldn't. I don't think I could bring myself to intentionally move there to put up with that bullshit. So that might seem petty and short-sighted, but if you have a choice, that weighs in. Like the leadership of Florida, the tax base where it's at, all that. I guess I'll just fly home more often. But that was a factor, and that's crazy to say. It might be petty. I don't know, because I love all the guys that are out there. But it's difficult to be there. It really is. I didn't mean to bring you guys down.
Will you take care of Carol Bannon while you're down there?
I neither confirm nor deny if I might be, checking out some of the preserves. Yeah.
Free Joe, come on.
Mike is gonna have like a little alligator farm, and
There are
Got a
some
month and a
crazy
half.
places too. I looked online, for housing. Obviously, that's part of the deal. And there's some wild places, man. It looks like somebody that just watched too many pirate movies built a freaking house. They're like 4 stories with freaking catwalks everywhere. And, it's just like down in the swamp kind of place. It looks pretty cool. But
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations. I hope
Thank
that
you.
works.
If you play your cards right, you might be able to be a purple shirt volunteer like within a year.
see what we can do. Yeah. Cool. Smart ass. All right. For that, Richard,
Congratulations.
thank you, sir. Richard, you want to go next?
Yeah, I found out I'm not dying.
That's
I don't know.
good.
I don't know what I'm dying of, but I have this problem where I get sick and then I go take tests and my answer is perfectly healthy. So yeah, I'm not dying. So I got that to look forward to.
Hey, we're all happy to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
that would ruin the podcast if you died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
I'm easily replaceable.
No, there's only one Brad Burr. We've looked. There's only one Brad Burr. Yeah. So.
Well, there's R
Forever.
cubed.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a while.
His attention span isn't.
It's at least a couple more months till he's got the vocabulary and thought process.
Yeah.
You silly dude. Yeah. No, we're glad to hear that, Richard, because I know last time you'd gone to the horse piddle and gone through all the facilities and such, and so glad to hear.
Yeah.
So stop taking freaking tests. Yeah. No, always get tested. That's for other things besides the other thing. So,
Wait,
Joel, you
why
look
do you think
intrigued
why do you think you're dying?
because he's getting old.
Yeah.
Just because you're tired?
I'm having a hard time being not invincible anymore, I guess. Psychologically, it's
You used them all up already, huh?
Yeah.
If I'd have been, I was going to live to be this
should,
old, I'd have taken a lot better care of myself.
I think the car wrecks I've been in is up above 20. So, yeah, I guess I've been lucky.
You should take a driving lesson.
Surprisingly, you're not the first person that has told me that.
Anybody that's ridden with him will tell him that.
I have literally never crashed a car. Like,
Oh, you're not living then, mister. Yeah.
I'll drive over there and teach you how to drive.
I've crashed 2 trucks. One had helicopters at it. It was exciting.
Yeah. Plus, he lived through the White House years. That's a whole different story.
Oh, I did find, speaking of the White House, Island City House, I did find the contract that Travis Stitzel and I had after Amy hit his truck. Talk about a walk down memory lane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was a vehicle that I owned that I wasn't in the car wreck with, but that happened too. But I thought it was hilarious that it was still in one of my boxes.
Wow.
Like brought back memories of quite possibly one of the shittiest houses Mike had ever lived in.
The one in Island City?
Yes.
Yeah. You should have saw that one in the interim before he went from the White House to that one. It was on X Avenue. We didn't really even officially move in. Yeah. They were stealing our shit before we even got fully moved in. That was a problem. Yeah. So the Island City house was nice compared to that. I'll just say that.
Well.
So. Whew, okay. Rawls, we're going to skip Joel and come back to him at the end. What give us, something, best thing so far this week or past or whatever you want to say. So what are your time frames up to you?
Probably the best thing is my wife came home. So.
She did. She came back. That's awesome. She had some fun in California and decided to come home and say howdy.
Yeah,
she decided she couldn't do any better.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah. Well, everybody's in lockdown,
What part of California is she from?
Just outside of Sacramento, little town called Wilton.
Oh, that's where my wife's from. Roseville.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Mrs. Bixby.
She's waving.
With all her fingers?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, details. Yeah. So. Yes, you seem like a much more smiley Rawls this week since the missus is home. That's good to see. Yeah.
Wait, that's the best thing that happened to you all week is your wife came back? Come on.
Yeah.
I think that's hilarious.
She's in the room, Joel.
Hey, Jess, if you're listening, Jess, just kick him right in the freaking head, all right?
It's the little...
Listen, calm down.
I'm just saying, yeah. He misses his wife when she's gone. Yeah, it happens.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. Someday, Joel. Yeah. You'll be open up with your feelings that you can express that as well.
My movie of the week is P.S. I Love You.
You shut your cake eater. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that lovely moment, Rolly. Joel, do you have anything to contribute as far as your best thing this week, besides your new hat or seeing us or semiotics or?
My favorite thing this week obviously is the hat.
Mhm.
But the most interesting thing is Pendleton has the 700 goats
Ah,
right
yes.
now.
Eating all the brush around the river.
Yeah. I haven't gone down to look at them yet, but I'm going to do that tomorrow. I drove by them and I saw them.
Pretty little
I fucking
maids
love
all
them.
in a row. Yeah.
I just love goats. I think goats are my favorite animal, I think. So
Wow, I didn't
pretty-
expect that.
pretty excited to go look at the goats tomorrow. And then gonna go do that again on Saturday and Sunday and Monday probably.
You might have to register somewhere if you keep going looking at the goats. I'm just saying.
They're gonna get worried about you walking around. So.
Yeah, I think
The
maybe you
more
could
you go
borrow a
around,
van and just
the
creep
more
around
they-
behind them.
The more I go around, the more they see me as a friend.
You know, not all goats.
I think
do
that's
that.
called grooming. That's really bad. Yeah.
Joel, have you ever eaten goat meat?
Nobody's put carrots in his pockets and walked by him. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have. Is it? Do you
Well,
not
if you
like
cook
it?
it right, it's not that bad. If you cook it
I've
right.
never had goat. No.
It's not bad if you.
Do people eat goats?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the fastest growing meat segment in the United States is goats.
Yeah.
Does that coincide with poor people?
No.
Like,
Not necessarily. No, it's just like you can keep. Goats are pretty efficient. They eat almost anything. Well, not almost anything. That's a wise tale. You could have I think is it 5 or
Here's
6
the thing.
goats per cow, basically, and they still make milk. So a lot of places, that's the only thing that stays alive.
I can
Here's the
only
thing.
drink.
Whenever you eat something, you're eating whatever they eat, right? I'm not going to eat a goat because they eat fucking Umatilla River garbage.
No, they don't eat garbage in tin
No.
cans and shit. They eat forbs and grasses and sedges and rushes. Like that's why I said it's a wise tale about goats eating cans and shit. Like they'll eat brush, they can eat thorns, but they're a ruminant animal, just like they're like a miniature cow. So
Well, just like I wouldn't eat a deer. I don't eat deer. I'm not going to do that.
why's
I'm not
that?
going to eat a goat
Why wouldn't you eat a deer?
because I have and it's gross.
What?
What?
Deer meat's gross.
No,
Elk,
it's not.
I would
gross.
beg to differ.
Have you
Yeah.
ever had an elk backstrap? It's like the greatest thing in the world.
I think a
I thought-
lot depends on how it's prepped and cured and hung, but I'd say it's some of the better meat out there. Yeah. Even Mr.
No.
Rogan would say so.
I don't know. Maybe I've had elk steak. I thought it was gross.
Yeah, interesting. It's different. It's not,
People are like, have jerky. I've tried the jerky a lot of times, hoping for a better result. It's
oh my
gross.
goodness. Blasphemy.
Terrible.
Blasphemy.
Tastes like you're eating a piece of paper that's been soaked in blood. What it tastes like. It's disgusting.
Oh, high iron. It's iron.
I think, yeah, we got a long
Goat
ways to go
milk.
with you still. Yeah.
Goat milk is my go-to dairy product.
Yeah, I was raised on goat's milk, actually, yeah, because I don't really like regular milk. But
I'm sorry for your guys' poverty.
yeah, hey, nothing I could do about it. So I couldn't leave Pilot Rock and move to town. So yeah, and Brian's in-laws make some of the best jerky I've ever had, and that's saying something. Just saying,
What does it say?
it's good jerky.
Okay.
Man. So your best is you're a goat molester, but you never eat one, so they should be comfortable around you.
No, I just want to hold one.
Now you're worried.
I will hug him and squeeze him, and I will call him George. Yeah. Well, if you talk nice to him, you might be able to hold a goat. Yeah.
Yeah, I need a new friend. So
I don't know why you'd ever be inclined to hold a goat, but I'm not one to judge too severely until the police get involved. So, yeah. Finishing that up, Joel, you do have the pleasure of picking next week's movie and
all right.
word
Yes.
of the week. So, if you'd like to enlighten us on what your movie is going to be, we can prepare the crowds and ourselves.
All right. So I'm going to defer the word of the week because I didn't know about that. But
Well, no, you don't have to do it till next week. Like you get to talk about it next week when we next meet again. Like when we discuss your movie, we'll discuss your
Right.
word. Yeah. So
Okay.
you got a little time.
yeah, I feel like after 10 episodes, I should know that. But
That's all right.
don't.
We'll get there.
Okay, I'm going to throw a little twist in here. And Richard, I know that you're into this. I don't know about Raleigh and Micah. But if you are so inclined and you want to have an edible or smoke it, I don't care. Just get stoned and watch a show on Netflix called I Think You Should Leave.
I think you should leave.
Yeah.
I'll watch it, but I probably won't consume for you. But
I got stoned the other night and I was watching this and I've never laughed harder in my life.
is it a movie or like a series?
It's like a sketch show. But
Okay.
there's like 10, 15 sketches in the whole series. And he's gonna come out with a new season here pretty soon because this is like a year old already. And I watched it sober and I'm like, this is fucking stupid. But then I was the right amount of stoned the other night watching it, and
Is there a particular episode we should focus on, or first couple, or what are your thoughts?
just turn it on. The first episode starts out pretty fire with he goes in for a job interview, right? And he's very nervous and he doesn't want to offend the guy or look stupid, but when you go to the door and it's a push that you pull.
Yeah, it's
right?
a Far Side cartoon. Yeah.
He does that. He tries to push, or he tries to pull, but it's a push door.
Mhm.
But he's not ready to like give up on it yet. So
He's really giving her hell. Yeah.
for like 2 minutes, he's just pulling the door open, like off the hinges. When you're sober, it's kind of amusing, but when you're stoned.
For those of you playing along at home, if you could see the look on Raleigh's face right now, it hasn't really changed in about the last 2 minutes. And it's freaking perfect. Yeah. It's
Like
beautiful.
there's
It's
a minor detail.
Brooklyn asshole is what it's saying right now. It's absolutely hilarious.
This minor detail I noticed. There's an episode where they're doing like a game show setup, like Jeopardy. So in Jeopardy, they'll be like, "I'll take things she didn't say for 400," something like that. But in this game show, they'll say, "I'll take things she didn't say, fourth one down." Fourth one down. I don't know. It's just those small details that really crack me up.
This is going to be some great insight, I think, into how we approach humor and what's entertaining.
So
I can't wait. Yeah.
That's my challenge to you. You guys get stoned this
Mhm.
week and watch some of that. And then my real movie for the week for people, our listeners, Red Dawn.
The newer, the first one, the real one.
The Patrick Swayze one.
Yeah,
the original.
the real one. Wow, great movie.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Patrick Swayze movie, I don't think.
No.
Especially when you get to yell Wolverines. Like, come on, man. Yeah. Avenge me. I've only seen it a couple times. That was the one when we moved to town. We moved to Medford, and my mom worked for the cable company. And so for the first time in my memory, we had cable TV, which in that time included like HBO, had HBO and Cinemax and whole theateroo. And Red Dawn was on one of those channels like every 15 minutes. That's all I watched. Like the beginning of my 6th grade year was Red Dawn. Like, yeah, it's in my brain. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how else you can become a man without watching Patrick Swayze and Red Dawn.
Well,
Roadhouse.
So much the Swayze. Yeah, Roadhouse. Yeah.
Roadhouse will be a nice film. Yeah.
Hurt stoning. Yeah. So outstanding. So we've got Red Dawn is the official movie of the week. The challenge initiated by Mr. Joel is get stoned and watch I Think You Should Leave. Okay.
And if it's still lingering, switch on over to Duncan Trussell's Midnight Gospel. Netflix is really going for the psychedelic movie watching crowd.
Sounds like it. Just the title alone makes me scratch my head. Yeah.
Wait,
haven't watched Netflix
Richard,
in a while.
you watch Stone? Is that good?
I haven't seen it yet, but I have heard lots of positive things about it.
There you go.
All right, I'm gonna do that tonight.
Outstanding. Guys, any final thoughts? Any thought? I guess I shouldn't say final thoughts. Any initial thoughts? Yeah. We had a great movie. Had some good conversation. Yeah, I really like this. This has been a fun episode. So I think I was looking forward to it, and it did not fail to perform. So I really think it went well.
Oh, any of you listener feedback you want to share with us from the last episode?
No,
Did you lose it?
I did. Yes.
You were looking around like, oh, it was here.
I thought I had it
It's
on.
gone.
It's
No.
for those. Yeah, I have like 7 yellow notepads off to my side here, and I don't know which one I wrote it on, and I didn't want to like thrash through it all. So I'll roll it into next time. How's that sound? Because I really do enjoy that, and I think people like knowing that we listen to what they're saying. So
I think they like to know that we can take criticism.
absolutely, yeah.
I can't. I don't like it.
Joel can, but he's never heard it before, so he wouldn't know what criticism sounds like. So, well, that sounds like an intriguing way to tell me how good I am. Oh, anyways, yes.
Oh my Lord.
And on that high note, I think we're going to close for this week. But again, guys, make sure you subscribe on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, anywhere that podcasts are available. Also on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, the notification button, share it with a friend, share it with an enemy. I think just text it to friends and say, hey, check these maniacs out. So we'll be here. Always appreciate the feedback. And until next time, keep your pants and your powder dry.
Tallywhack.